Let's play High Frontier 4 All in Tabletop Simulator. This is the third part of this series, and will cover turns 25 to 36 of the playthrough. I hope you are enjoying this series thus far. Don't forget to leave a comment if you would like to share your thoughts. On the last cycle, I managed to deploy our new mass driver rocket. I used the rocket to explore the Vesta region, and used my robonaut to prospect and claim a couple of sites including Vesta itself. Regrettably, I was not able to find any useful resources in the S-type site. This site would be quite handy to claim, seeing how many of my patents share the same type. After weighing my options, I decided to explore the Flora family in the hopes of laying claim to an S site there. The rocket is sitting just outside this region and is ready to make a change in direction to enter. Once it enters the region, it can use its laser to examine all the sites with at least one hydration. I roll to prospect for Flora, the large 4S site, and get a 2. I place a claim disc on it. Then I roll for Ariadne and get a 1. I also place a claim disc on it. With that, I finally claim a S site and a second for good measure. On the next turn, I get a glitch event. I place a glitch on my rocket stack, but then promptly use my crew's special ability to fix it. Now, I am ready to build my first factory in space. I will take the industrialize operation. For this, I will decommission a refinery and a robonaut and their required supports, except for radiators. But before taking my operation, I should have moved my rocket and landed on Flora. Now, I can place a cube on my claim to show that the site has a working factory. I remove the rocket from the board. Its thruster is no longer operational. I had to dismantle it, since it shared the reactor and generator with the refinery and robonaut. I designate Flora as Outpost 1 and store the thruster and radiator on it. I have taken my operation and movement for the turn, so I advance to the next turn. I need to create new parts to bring my rocket back online. Now, I have the option to produce the black side of my patents in my factory. I am thinking of producing the black side of my robonaut, the Wakefield E-beam. This side loses the laser ability, but gains an efficient dirt thruster that could replace the mass driver. But I still need a pulsed Jenny to run it. My Jenny can only be boosted from Earth since I do not have a factory in a C-type site. I can see that my heliogyro can deliver the generator to Flora in 2 movements, so I decide to boost it to LEO so it can start moving. Here, I forget to pay 1 aqua for boosting the generator, which has a mass of 1. Unfortunately, I will not catch this error later on. The rocket uses its first burn to enter the belt. All components survive the radiation. Then the second burn allows it to fly by the moon and gain 1 additional burn. It uses this push to pass through the next burn spot and reach the crossing just before the last burn to Flora. Now I am ready to move on to the next turn. I get the dreaded budget cut event. Fortunately, I have extra cards in my hand that I do not need. I discard the radiator from my hand. My rockets gets a -1 to its net thrust due to the Mars zone. It uses its only burn to reach the crossing, and with its free turn, it changes direction to the Flora region. There, although its thrust is too weak to land, it can use a factory-assisted landing that allows it to do so. But for this, I need to perform a hazard roll as a penalty. I roll a 6, and the rocket survives the risky landing maneuver. Now, I can deliver the Jenny to the outpost. I am not going to need the gyro at this moment, so I store it in the outpost as well. I will place the cards that are in my outpost to the side so I can inspect them with ease. For my operation, I will ET produce the E-beam on my factory in Flora. I then move on to the next turn. I will continue ET producing my patents this turn. This time I will produce the pulsed NTR fission reactor. The next turn rolls yet another glitch event, but again, I use our special ability to deal with it. This turn, I produce the von Neumann machine in our factory. This Blackside refinery has the ability to reduce the ISRU by 1 of any platform in the same location. This might come in handy later. I will lay out my rocket parts to get a better idea of the requirements. I had forgotten that the black side of the reactor needs a lot of cooling. I will need to find extra cooling or find a replacement for it. Without a rocket to take a movement, I must move on to the next turn. In the patent offer, I purchased the generator and the radiator to cycle the decks. I forgot to pay for the 2 patents, but I will catch this in the next turn. This pays off as I reveal the in-core thermionic S-type patent. The black side of this card does not require any reactor, which will make the rocket functional without any additional radiators. I am ready to advance to the next turn. The debris event has no effect, as I do not have anything in LEO except for my crew. Here, I pay the 2 aqua I owe from last turn. I take the opportunity to purchase the generator that I want. I will also purchase 2 of its supports for 3 aqua in total. This turn I will ET produce Z-Pinch Jenny to complete my rocket. The mass driver has run its course for now. I decide to stow it and use the Robonaut's thruster, as it's lighter, more efficient, and has an afterburner to boot. The new Z-Pinch Jenny doesn't need a reactor, nor does my refinery. Although it has 0 mass, I decide to stow it as well. I might be able to sell it for 8 aqua if I can't find a use for it later. My new rocket has a mass of 6, and I refuel the rocket to the maximum amount. It has a base thrust of 8, but I subtract 2 because it is in the tug class. Since I have another S-type Robonaut in my hand, I decide not to move the rocket yet. I will produce the other one. That way, if I industrialize another site, I do not have to decommission my Robonaut with the thruster. The event is a solar flare, but all my components are shielded in the outpost at the moment, so it has no effect. Now, I produce the black side of my second Robonaut. Its mass is 0, so it does not change the rocket's total mass. I will move my rocket to the NISA cluster nearby. There I can prospect 3 sites with 1 operation. The rocket has more than enough thrust to take off Flora. It moves to the Homan crossing and changes direction using 2 burns. Then it reaches the NISA family orbit. Next turn, I can prospect 3 of the 4 sites using the laser Robonaut. Its ISRU is 2, but the von Neumann machine reduces it to 1 with its special ability. I have taken my operation and movement for the turn, so I advance to the next turn. I roll to prospect the 3M site first. The roll is 5, and my Robonaut doesn't find anything useful there. Then I roll for the 2D site. The roll is a 1, and I place a claim on its resources. Finally, I roll for the tiny 1C site. The roll is again a 1, and also place a claim there. I was not anticipating the results of this survey. This cluster of M sites would be a good target for my surveyor. I still need an M site, and it would be a good idea to diversify my possessions. The 2 little sites might not have anything useful, but the chunky 4M Cleopatra has a high chance to do so. The only problem is it's a perilous journey there. I would need to take 2 hazard rolls. Nevertheless, I think it would be a good destination and worth the risk. To get there, I move my rocket to the first Homan crossing and burn 2 times to change direction. It then reaches a second crossing and burns 2 more times. Then, it makes a final burn to enter the binary contact hazard space. The roll is a 6, and it survives the hazard. By mistake, I only consume 4 burns instead of 5. It is inconsequential, as I have more than enough fuel to reach our destination. That's the beauty of a cheap fuel thruster like this one. I decide to stay at this space to prospect next turn. If I manage to claim a site, I will move on to the second hazard and land on a site to build a factory. The event roll is a debris event, but I have nothing in LEO. I first prospect Cleopatra and roll a 4. I just barely find something. I then roll of the 2 smaller sites, and they are both busted. I proceed to land the rocket on Cleopatra, but first it enter a familiar rapid spin hazard. I roll a 2 and just barely land on the site. This turn ends the 3rd sunspot cycle. I move a 3rd seniority disc onto the authority law. Since I am making many claims, having this law active at the end will duplicate their value. This concludes the 3rd part of this playthrough. Next time, I will build my 2nd factory in space and try to keep on exploring and diversifying my possessions. This will help me get more points and hopefully cross the scenario's 60-point threshold for a victory. So far, things are looking good. If you have made it until this point, I hope it has been enjoyable so far. Please leave a comment if you would like to share your opinion. Also, if you find a mistake, I will add it to the errata. Special thanks to 11 Labs for providing this wonderful AI-generated narration voice. Check the link in the description for more information on their helpful tools.